This is my year two final major project by Thompson-Graham. So we're going to start with my context section of the FMP. We're going to start with the one-page proposal and the UAL proposal. So essentially here, the one-page proposal is pretty self-explanatory. It's just a one-page proposal where you propose your project, your idea, pretty much. So my first paragraph, I just briefly spoke about like what I've been asked to do and like what the type of project is. It's basically just me working with my local basketball team, Enfield Scorpions. Club manager Hannah Robson has hired me essentially to basically work on the media team for the club. Yeah. So the second paragraph, I'm talking about the style and themes of the project. Speaking on the styles and themes is very crucial as when you are pushing forward like a project or something like that and like you're working for someone, you don't want to make something that doesn't really correlate to the team or to the brand, etc. So finding out the styles and themes basically helps you with your designing because for example, the club manager she might want like a old fashioned theme, so therefore me now knowing that she wants an old fashioned theme can now help me with my designing process because I now know that alright cool. If she wants old fashioned looks, I need to now make something that fits within that sector. If you kind of get what I'm talking about. Um, my third paragraph, I essentially just speak on like what the project is going to be consisting of. So some highlight tapes. Um, these highlight tapes will be between 50 seconds to 2 minutes long, depending on how many highlights there are per game. The best bucket scored during each of these games will be included into the tapes. This also creates competition between the players to see who can be included in the tapes for each fixture. There will also be some photography work and some graphic work shot by me and designed by me. I then meant to speak on my target audience. My project is primarily aimed towards different basketball teams and basketball athletes of any age. The reason to this is because I want to ensure that these clubs and these athletes that they're able to see the work that I essentially produce. Because in the future they may ask me, they might want me to work for them, so on and so forth. So that is my one-page proposal. Moving on. We now have the UAL proposal. The UAL proposal is basically what you propose to UAL. Again, self-explanatory. There are sorry. There are three written sections. First is my rationale. My rationale is basically what you've learned over your 2 year course. You just briefly sum that up with approximately 100 words. Um, I've spoken about how there's been some depth in higher levels of learning, development with improvements in camera work and graphic design for me this year. Then some academic skills they've also been improved. For example, narrative structures, so on and so forth. Moving on to section two, the project concept. Again, pretty self-explanatory. You just basically speak on what your project is, etc. You just sum it down into 200 words. Um, so what I had done here for my one-page proposal, I basically took some bits out and then summarized it down, sorry, into 200 words and just put it into my section two. Um, Section three, my evaluation, again, self-explanatory. You sum that down into 150 words. I basically spoke on evaluating and reflecting upon my work for the FMP is very essential as this allows me to see what I can improve on and develop upon in my work. All reflections throughout the project will be made and seen in my reflective journal. Problems and issues will potentially occur, so I will be putting these down in my problem solving log. Problem solving log is again self-explanatory. It's just a log full of your problems and how you solve these problems. So just below that, I have a Harvard reference for proposed research sources. I just put down 6 here. Mentioned about The Purple Cow, which is a book about transforming your business. Seth's blog, again, this is more business based, and Sam Thomas Davies, again, a bit business based. Then just some websites here about the art and sports photography side of things, how to design a logo, and then online branding. Then below here, I just have my F&P schedule and timetable. So that is it for my UAL proposal. Now moving on to my pitch. So when you work on a project, you need to essentially create a pitch because you're pitching your idea. So yeah, right. First slide. I speak on my concept and my idea, which I have already spoken about with my one-page proposal and my UAL proposal. Sorry, excuse me. Yawning. So I basically here just speak on the whole project, the whole idea. I spoke on some influencers like Ill Visuals and the Come Up Official, who have been producing a lot of like sports based, more so basketball based, photography and videography for teams within London, for example, London Elite and London Lions. Um, I then went to speak on, excuse me again. Sorry about that. I then went to speak on conducting different methods of research for my F&P. An example of this would be like setting up surveys to people to essentially find out what they think of something, if they have any suggestions of things that I could change, etc. Then I just spoke on some of the softwares that I'll be using. Next slide is just the styles and themes, which I've spoken already. I spoke here that the theme for this project is a modern look, and I just spoke on the on color sets. So, for example, basketball team Boston Celtics, they are primarily green and white. So their kits, their training kits, their branding is all green and white. Scorpions are more so black and red, so I need to take that into account. Moving on. I just spoke about some more themes of like inspiration, creativity, and motivation. Um, for example, creativity, being able to come up with these ideas and concepts for work that will need to be created, as I have full creative direction on this project. Since I have full creative direction on this project, I basically need to use all my creative powers, you could say, to ensure that the whole project and the practical side of things, that they are done to like a very like high level. So yeah, mentioning them three things was very important because this is quite a lengthy project. You need inspiration when designing things, for example, creativity when it comes to like what you're gonna do for the whole practical side of things, and then motivation. It's a long project, so at some points you may not feel very motivated, so it's key that I just like briefly mention that. I then spoke about target audience, that I was going to be targeting different basketball teams just different basketball teams and athletes aged 12 and above. Being age 12 and above places you within the Generation Z bracket. I want to be able to work with different sports teams and athletes. Therefore, sports teams and athletes are my main target audience. Having this information, like in terms of target audience, is key as it will make targeting the generation easier. As what I am promoting, posting, etc., can easily be reached and accessed to people within this generation. So definitely like just speaking on target audience pretty much. Here I just put together like three slides of just some similar work. This is from the Come Up Official. This is from L Visuals, and then this is from Brian Bosche. I'm sorry if I pronounced his name wrong. But all three of these people I have met personally. Some of them mentor me as well because like they're more higher ups in the basketball scene in London. So as I'm younger than all three of them, it's good to like kind of get like some help essentially from them. I then created a client profile for. Sorry guys. I then created a client profile for I then created a client profile I have a little bit of a speech impediment for the person listening, so please just bear with me. Um, Enfield Scorpions is a club founded by Perry Lawson, who you can see on the bottom right of the slide. He's a former GB international and London Lions guard. The club is built on hard work, dedication, discipline, values which resonate throughout. So I just basically put together a client profile. I then went to move on. I then spoke on audio. For this project, the highlight tapes will have beat instrumentals that are playing in the background. These instrumentals will be from artists like NBA YoungBoy, Lil Baby, and Nodwick, etc. Here's just my schedule that I've just filled in here. I then moved on to primary and secondary research as a part of my pitch. These are just forms of them. So for example, primary research example would be sending my work online to different people. For example, I could use online forums like Worldwide Known at Reddit. Reddit is seen as one of the prime places to share and upload work. So me sending work there will be great to hear some feedback from people. A form of secondary research is me looking at other people's work. This allows me to see how they create and produce work. But looking into their work, this also allows me to collect inspiration from a piece that they have created, which leads me to being able to implement something that they have created into my own work. Since I am creating some graphic artwork pieces, I can look and see what other people are doing, and I can also see what type of styles and trends and colorways are trending. Um, I then essentially created a graphic design mood board and a photography mood board here. I created 3 slides just showing like the people who inspire me. AMD visuals, I'd say in terms of photography and videography, he is my like number one top in the form of inspiration. He is Lil Yachty's all-round cameraman. I've worked with Lil Yachty last year on a project, so I'm very blessed to know him like that. Then AMD Visuals, he is also like one of my mentors. Whenever like I have work or like I've made a project or something, I will send it straight to him, and then he will like essentially he'll he'll say whether like some things need to be improved or what I can do like to make it pop more, or sometimes like if I have like a nice picture which I've made, he'd like sometimes send me some sort of preset to put onto the picture, like just to make it pop. So he really does a lot for me. Next is Cole Bennett. Cole Bennett is a huge inspiration of mine. I like to essentially direct things on the side, so I'd say Cole Bennett is like one of the world's most known directors. I'd say in the music scene, he is the number one director next to Director X. Cole Bennett owns like his own his own thing called Lyrical Lemonade. It's basically like a platform for artists to go to Cole Bennett to get like music videos made and all that sort of stuff. He's worked with like Lil Durk, Young Boy, like so many big names. Next is Jimmy Fontaine. Jimmy Fontaine is a fantastic photographer who's worked with No Cap, Quando Rondo, um, Gucci Mane, NBA Youngboy, etc. I just love like his look and style of when he takes pictures. So like as you can see here, I think he mainly focuses on like on the waist up type of pictures because when he has taken some pictures in the past, like I haven't really seen many like full body shots. So yeah, he just gets like the more so the close up shots. Then is my hardware and software. I'm just like speaking about the hardware and software that I'm using. I then spoke on the budget, so the cost of equipment, the cameras I'm using, and all that sort of stuff, and then just how I'm going to receive feedback on my project. Um, Finished work can be posted online and on social media to be reviewed. Once reviewed, people can tell me what they think and all that sort of stuff. The final part of my context is my brief. Project brief is literally just the brief for the project, and that's it. And then, not to mention my schedule, there's just two parts to this. Just a simple schedule here that I filled in, and then just the game fixtures. So club manager Hannah Robson, she's just sent me this. So she's just got like all the details for all the fixtures of this year. The next part of my F&P is the research report. So for my research report, I essentially picked out some sections of this like list or thing of what I'm going to do. So my introduction, the workflow, as part of the contextual research into the genre, sources of inspiration, research into the company, similar products, audience research, surveys, questionnaires, interview, target audience tutorials, visual production research, mood boards, test shots, online tutorials, evaluation and feedback, focus group surveys, questionnaires. Actors, artists, contributor feedback, and then my conclusion, bibliography. So my introduction, I'm just pretty much just introducing you into the project. Spoke on a few things here that like my F&P is a completely different one compared to last year. Just got the project brief, then the background of the project. Why I'm doing the project is very key that I mention this because like you want to know why I'm doing it. How does this benefit me and my business and the networking side of things? So here, I've literally just gone through this. So I've just put in my pitch. So like you can just see more into the work. I then created a workflow. So this starts with me finding a client, finding out what they need me to work on. Begin working on whatever they need me to work on. If the work is approved, check to see if any changes need to be made. If that is the final version, just send the work into the file and sending the work in the correct file format. If changes need to be made, just check to see what changes need to be made, then sending on the final version. If the work is not approved, come with a different concept to see if it will be approved. If it's been approved, send through. If they still don't like what I've come up with, I can keep coming up with more concepts. Then the cycle repeats. Contextual research into company client. I have just basically what I had done was from my contextual section, I took some bits from my client profile and put it into here. So um, I'd done like a brief thing about the club. Um, sorry. Enthoscope is a run for teams. So I just spoke about like the team agents they have, the coaches and extras, and just me, a part of the media team. Sources of inspiration. As I do three things: photography, videography, and graphic design. I am inspired by so many different people within this field. So I basically just like showed some graphic design pieces here. Then again, um, I then spoke on AMD visuals again. Like that's just me and him talking here, and then Mahalo Andik, who is Lil Yachty's cover artist, about like just me and him speaking here. Um, Then I've basically done like a little small profile thing for AMD Visuals and Mahalo Andik. These two are like they've played a huge part in my um, career as well, so they deserve all the credit and all the respect. I also done another client profile sort of thing for Become Up Official. Um, Here I'm doing the research into my genre, so I speak on what is sports marketing. Sports marketing is a marketing strategy that is a subdivision of marketing that promotes sports events, products, pieces of equipment, services for team, be it sporting events, athletes, and sports teams. Then I spoke on the origin. Now that I'm going to be working on a sports marketing sort of project, it's key that I dig deep into how it started and the origin. So sports marketing has been around for many years and has gone through all sorts of experiences, changes, and development. Brand awareness and product placement was the first initial thing that based on sports marketing and branding. During that time period, different companies were focusing on brand credibility, which drove them to associate with sports and athletes. So here, I briefly just spoke on the origins and how things started. I then spoke on the benefits of sports marketing. Now, again, now that I'm working on sports marketing, I need to know the benefits of things and how things run. So loyalty is one of them. Having loyalty within sports marketing is vital as it is having loyalty within sports having loyalty within having having loyalty within sports marketing is vital as it is to any business. Good relations between businesses and customers created so-called business. Um, so the so-called term "good business" is more so an American term. So if you're working with someone, they'll say, and then they recommend you to someone, they will say like, "Oh, this person does good business." So when I'm designing graphic work for a lot of American people, they will say that, "Oh, like, thank you, you do good business," or they only work with people who do good business. Good marketing and strategy allows audiences and fans of sports teams to build passion for their favorite team. Then I spoke on product sales, promotion of sports itself. I then went to speak on the biggest earners from endorsements through marketing. Roger Federer, Tiger Woods, and LeBron James. And I spoke on what makes a good brand. So me working with Enfield Scorpions, I need to know like, well, cool. So bigger sports teams, people know what makes them good in terms of like their branding and sales and all that sort of stuff. So it's key that I know this. So when I'm working with Scorpions, like I know what like how. Sorry, I've spoken about what makes a good brand. I just need to restart again because I'm getting a bit muddled up with my own words. I've spoken what makes a good brand. I essentially spoke on this because I'm going to be working with a team within the sports sector. I need to now look into other teams to find out like what makes them good in terms of like their sales, their promotions, all that sort of stuff. So it's key that I researched into this, so I'm able to also know like what makes a good brand. So the work that I do can help make like Scorpions a good team and to become known. Some key points of making a good brand are knowing what your target audience is and how to correctly target and approach them, consistent and innovative with their business or products that they may be selling, being knowledgeable of who your competitors are, has goals and objectives that they want to achieve, for example, making 10K in sales in 6 months, being able to identify any issues or problems that are going in with the time management. Um, I then just spoke of some similar projects here. I just pulled out 3 teams with similar products that I'm going to be using. So London Elite have some high quality graphic work. Brent Bulls have some average quality graphic work. Then London United have low quality graphic work. Here I started with London Elite. I basically just broke down the picture and just spoke on like what's good about it, what can be improved, etc. And I've done the same for Brent Bulls. Then London United, as you can see by looking at all 3, like you can tell what's high quality, mid quality, and then low. My audience research, I put together surveys and questionnaires. I basically put this together because I had to pick between 2 fonts, 2 colorways, and if people liked my design style that I was going for the project. The 2 fonts I put together were Bebas and Vogue. Conducting this research was very important because I need to know which font people like more because I don't want to essentially design something which has a font or a typeface or some typography that one people don't really like, 2 that people don't really think suit the project. So conducting the research here was key. I got 38 responses, and out of the 38, 71.1% were Bebas, 28.9% were Vogue. Next question was what colorway do people like most? As you can see, all right, I will go back to it. The colorway choices were between red and grey because, as previously mentioned, Enfield Scorpions are their primary color set are red and black. So I had to put that in there. But when it comes to gradients and all that sort of stuff, I just feel that red and grey will look better. So I just wanted to see like both sides of what people think. Out of the 38 responses I got, 57.9% were red and grey, 42.1% were red and black. And the final one was, do you like this design style and give me a reason why? on the survey, I'd basically shown people a graphic piece and the final template and preset that I was using. So I just wanted to get like the final approval from people and to get like the green light that people like this. So it's key that I conduct this, and it's very helpful and useful because if people like the final concept sort of thing, then I can move on to designing more things using the same style. If people don't like this, then that's also very good and useful and helpful for me to know because now that I know this, I can then create a completely different graphic in a different style. Then I can just like show people this and just put together like a whole nother survey to see if people like that. So I'm happy that people liked the final version of what I'd put together here. I had interviewed some players as part of primary research. I had interviewed Sydney Obika, Aaron Sifik, and Kai Bunde. These are three National League players of the under-18s team. I had asked them the following questions: What do you look for in graphic design, photography, video? What do you look for in graphic design, photography, and videography in terms of your own basketball team? Do you think that it's important to have any pictures or video highlights of your team posted onto social media and why? Um, they gave me their responses for that, which was very good to know what they think because um I can right. So this is key for me to know because finding out what players want and people within the Generation Z bracket want, I can then take that all into account. Then when I get to practical sides of things, I can then look back to see what they said. Then like again take that all into account. Then knowing what they've said, I can then take that information and put that into my work. Knowing if they think that it's important to post video highlights and pictures of the team onto social media is key as well because I know some basketball teams they don't really post like pictures or highlights. So um, the athletes like Sydney Obika, for example, who's like I'd say the one player on the team who genuinely wants to make it with basketball, they need to be seen. So it's key to know that they all think it's important to be posted onto social media because all these scouting agencies they basically look through teams as like social medias as it's just the easiest way to basically look at like highlights of players and to get some information off of players. So if we start posting work onto the Instagram, then we're basically sharing it out to people and helping the club like be more known because for all we know, I could post a highlight tape and then some scout from somewhere might see it, and then they could literally see all the players' highlights, see the team highlights, and then just like pick up players who they like and could potentially invite them down for like a trial type of thing. I then spoke on independent learning as my final part of primary research. Here I'm just talking about some tutorials that I was watching, like how to get sharp pictures. And then here, I researched into the sports side of photography, so how to become better at sports photography, some tips and tips of settings. Secondary research, I spoke on my target audience, so Generation Z. I just briefly spoke about that. Visual and production research, I put together a mood board for this, a graphic design one and a photography one. Um, then these are just two designs that I put together. Then I'm just speaking about like the layout type of thing. Just saying that like if you look on the picture on the left, I'm just comparing them to the left picture layout's a bit like all over the place. It's not very nice looking, whereas the one on the right is like much more well put together. Here I just focus some test shots. So the picture on the left is a raw picture, and the picture on the right is a edited picture. So I'm just like speaking about that here. Then my conclusion. just basically spoke about like that this F&P will always be one to remember, as this is a new entry point to my career path, as this is something that I never thought I would be doing, because before this year I used to like really hate camera work. Now look at me doing all this work with cameras. And here I just spoke about how the research that I have conducting is beneficial to me. And then my in conclusion was everyone on this project will definitely help and benefit me in the future. I know it will. All the research I have conducted will help me develop my craft and to help me get somewhere in this industry. I want to keep getting better at using cameras, so more and more more and more research and practice has to be done. The main thing that I learned from this F&P is that anything is possible, and you just need to tell yourself that you can do anything you put your mind to. Then here is just my bibliography. Moving on is my problem solving log. Problem solving log is just essentially like all the problems you have, you put in like a date or what happened and the issue then that actually took to solve it. I'll speak on three examples here. So throughout my F&P, finding motivation, trying to solve this was extremely hard. My parents and teachers know all about the struggle that I had. Just had to sit down and talk to myself man to man and simply say that if you don't finish your F&P, you will end up somewhere where you don't want to be in the future. So just simply just crack on and do it. I then told myself once it's all completely finished, imagine how good I'll feel knowing that I literally have no more work to do until I go off to university. Drawing practical work, time management. I was sending back highlight tapes and pictures late to Hannah Robson as I didn't expect everything to take so long to edit. Therefore, one day I had free time. I sat down and knocked out every single highlight tape and had them all sent off. On the 6th of the 2nd, 2022, camera settings weren't correct. ISO, shutter speed, and the aperture. When I was shooting one of the basketball games, my pictures kept coming out really dark and blurry. I didn't know why. I had asked one of the experienced cameramen, L Visuals, who was at a London Elite game, to see if they could help me fix the issue, which they thankfully did. So pretty much, he had shown me some examples of how pictures would look using the different ISO settings, shutter speeds, and the aperture. I've taken pictures of these. They are on my phone. So let's just say, for example, if I'm at a shoot, then I have to change my camera settings to match that. Then I have like another basketball shoot. I can then go back to the picture and just see what the settings were, then go back to it. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my problem solving log. I'll just speak on one more. 1st of the 5th, 2022, After Effects crashing while I was trying to use it. I was trying to create some motion artwork for a post for Scorpion's Instagram. However, when I was using the Puppet Pin tool for my program, when I was using the Puppet Pin tool, my program kept crashing. So I had to result in keeping the graphics as regular graphics instead of the motion. However, I had watched a YouTube video regarding why my program kept on crashing, which then later led to me solving the issue. The issue that I was having was something to do with my external storage, but I didn't seem to I didn't seem to figure out why, so I pretty much just left it. So yeah. Now the practical side of work. Just the graphic work here. I'll show you a couple of pieces of them. The under 12s, under 14s, and 16s made it to the CBL playoffs, so I just created the graphic for them. CBL final games. This is just like a flyer type of thing, just saying like when the dates on the times, Easter camp, Kirby Maguire got selected to play for England. Kareem Dixon, one of the adults players and one of the coaches, got committed to play in America. A National League flyer, National League trial flyer, sorry. Enfield Scorpions got a official sponsor for the 2022 to 2023 season with Fireway Pizzeria. Weekend fixture flyer, weekend result flyer, weekend result again flyer, and then Hannah Robson had basically wanted me to create a graphic of myself, pretty much here, so she could just notify people that they've been working with me, so it's kind of like help me to help me get in more clients, pretty much. And the highlight tips here, Coach Perry's last game, gave Rob some highlights, Girls versus Cruise Academy, under 16 versus Brent Panthers, under 18 versus Brent Bulls, under 18 versus Islington, under 18 versus London Elite 2, under 18 versus London Elite. This one was home, no, this one was an away game, this one was a home game. Under 18s versus Oasis Enfield, and under 18s versus West Hurt. Um, I thought that I had to do kit design, so like the player kits, but no, this Hannah had actually told me that it's more apparel. So just some long sleeves, some hoodies, t-shirts, a flask, just a jumper, another long sleeve hoodie, a hat, a fleece for when it's cold, a face mask, and another t-shirt and another long sleeve. This is just some of the photography work that I've done. This is just somewhat some of the work. Some of the other work was on a hard drive, which actually got wiped, which was very unfortunate. So I was a bit devastated by it, but what can you do? These things happen. That's just a picture of Senior Beaker, Perry Lawson, Kirby Mabaya, and Gabe Robson. Here's just some of the rough work. So these are just some of the rough clips from, I believe, a London United game. Yep, London United. Oh, let's go back into it again. And just some rough graphic work here. Yeah, that's pretty much it from my practical side of work. I really enjoyed it. To be fair, um, the graphic work I wasn't too keen on, but you know, everyone goes through them phases where they experience art block and they can't really come up with any like ideas with things. So yeah, I was more so happy with the camera work because I started using cameras only in January, so to see the progress that has come since January until now is very good. Because I know some people like no disrespect to them, of course, but they've been doing like camera work for like 2 to 3 years, and their work still remains the same. But like I and other people have seen clear improvements with my work. Um, Planning on productions next. I essentially just took some screen grabs and screenshots of some WhatsApp messages between me and Hannah Robson, just like speaking on on some work. So here, hey Luke, is there any chance you could produce one of these today for Kirby if possible? Which I had done here. So I'm just showing like what basically happens in mine and Hannah's conversations. She'll either ring me or just send me a text message just asking me if I could just like make something quickly. Then here I ask some early drafts, rough videos and clips, production paperwork with resources. Sorry, I created a COVID risk assessment as you have to do when you are doing practical work. Um, So that is pretty much here. Then I've put in some dates, like the first of April. Then my digital signature at the bottom. I then put together a risk assessment. Putting together a risk assessment is very important because when you're shooting something, you literally don't want like people ending up hurt or things like that. So when essentially when you're at basketball games, like especially the ones that we're at, there's not big like there's not big like seats. The venues aren't too big, so there's not much. Sorry, there's not many risks at all. Other than audiences, fatigue among hours. Um, they were the only two from the whole list. So here, hazard number one. audiences. During basketball games, often parents, friends, and locals come to watch the games, and they take place as spectators. This is a low risk as there is arranged seating available for spectators in areas that keep space between the seating arrangement and the actual court itself. Bumping into players is very unlikely. If there are no seats available to spectators, they are either told to share seats on the benches, if available, or they are told to stand whilst making sure they aren't in the way of players, subs, reserves, referees, score takers, or coaches. I then spoke on the second hazard, fatigue along hours. Some days Some days I may have two plus games to film. Sometimes they could be at the same court or they'll be at another location. If games are during the day, then the hours may be long, but you won't be feeling drained unless you've got the game to film first thing in the morning, then one at noon, and then the evening game. Have actions to take. Have an early night the day before, so you've had enough sleep to film and to take pictures all day. Make sure I've eaten food and had water to stay hydrated and energized for the day. We then had to basically get the sign formed. If the producer has completed the risk assessment, they need to co-sign this. I am the whole manager of the project, so I basically just filled it in myself. That is it for my planning and production. So we've spoken on my context, my planning and production, my practical work, my problem solving, my research. This is just like my resource folder. It's got my audience feedback, the grading, some feedback here, media project survey, pitch, example, and workflow, and then more resources here. Now moving on to my reflective journal, audience feedback, and final evaluation. We're going to start with my audience feedback. So, as part of my audience feedback for my 2022 FMP, I had put together a focus group. The responses are based on my whole project. The participants are M4 Scorpions players. So this is just my concept and my idea. Internal factors. So before we start this, why I have decided to do a focus group is because I need to know what people think of the work that I've done from the start of the project to the end. Why I have asked the Scorpions players, sorry, why I have asked Scorpions players to participate in this is purely because um I've been working with them and they're players, so I would love to hear like what they think. And it logically makes more sense because I'm gonna continue working as a part of Scorpion's media team, for however long I choose to do so. So, um, if I can get feedback from the players and to know that they like the work that I'm putting together, then and to also hear if they feel that I can improve on stuff, that helps me greatly. So internal factors and external factors, I'll speak on them briefly. So strengths. This is from Levi. Your camera work and editing stands out among the rest. It has a unique aspect in the clips captured and is also and is always in high quality. This is by Rio. The graphic work that you've done is very good. I know you do graphic work, so it is always going to be good. The fonts and colorways you use were good, and the red represents a club really well. Weaknesses. The weaknesses are sometimes the camera quality and sound can be bad. That's because of the camera and how sometimes the video has been recorded, but can be fixed. Sometimes not your fault, but still everything good. That is from Aaron. External factors, some opportunities. This is from Aaron again. The opportunities you can get by doing this is the opportunities you can get by doing this is other teams in the UK can see your work and will be interested, or other teams in different countries can be interested, and you can also contact other teams to see for yourself if they are interested. So he's basically just saying that other teams and other teams and other athletes, they can look into the project work that I've been doing for Scorpions. If they like what I've been doing, they can pretty much just hire me to work for them. A threat by Rio. I know you have your own style, so when people see your work without any logos on the work, they'll know it's yours. But since you have no logos on your work that you've been doing for Scorpions, anyone can literally take a screenshot of whatever you've done. And because there's no logos, they can pretend and say that this is theirs. Rio has made a great point here. Anyone can literally screenshot my work and just put on their own logo and then and say it's theirs. So gaining this information was very important because now I can review what he said and then take action. So the action I'm going to be taking here is all the work for next season and pre-season I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be putting all my logos, even if it's just like small or faded. At least it is on there. So if anyone tries to claim the work's theirs, my logos and work will always be known as mine. Some notable things that they said were the strengths that you have. The strengths that you have done for Scorpions is you have recorded most of the games, also took some pictures and edited pictures that have grown. Oh, my Wi-Fi's cut out. I don't know why it's cut out. Don't know why my Wi-Fi's cut out here. That is not good. Okay. I will continue. The strengths that you have done for Scorpions is that you have recorded most of the. Why is my Wi-Fi cut out? The strengths that you have done for Scorpions is that you have. Okay, we're back online. Sorry about for the person watching. I don't know why my Wi-Fi just randomly decided to cut out there. That was literally not convenient at all. But the strengths that you have done for Scorpions is you have recorded most of the games, also took some pictures and edited pictures that have grown the Scorpions media even more. Now, as everything looks more professional, which which will want which we will want to make more people want to join the club. I then conducted surveys and questionnaires. I wanted to get some feedback from a lot of people to see what they think of all the work that I've been doing for Scorpions this season. I put together a folder of work I've done and sent to people to participate in the survey. It's important that people get feedback on the work that they do, as many people possibly want to pursue this career. So they just want to know like what they can improve on. I'd ask the following questions: What do you think of the photography work, the videography work, and the graphics work? I had received 18 responses. Out of the 18 responses for each question, every single one was positive. I didn't see one bad piece of feedback. You would look at that and assume it's been fake, as there's so much good feedback. But no, really and truly, everyone just genuinely liked the work that I'd put together. Um, I received feedback from the club manager. As club manager, you oversee everything. So Hannah Robson was the first to see any of the work that I was doing, whether they were just drafts or finals or just any piece of work that I had done. It was only right that I'd asked her for some feedback. So literally, Hannah gave me like amazing feedback, which I didn't expect to receive. So here I just copied and pasted what she said here, then just took a screenshot of the email that she sent. Um, Overall, I am over the moon with what Hannah has said about my work and for Scorpions. I'm really happy about this. It goes to show that you can make an impact for not only yourself but for other people. Working on this project has created a new career pathway for myself, and it has helped for Scorpions not only as a team and as a club, but as it has helped for Scorpions not only as a team and a club, but as a family to be heard of and to be discovered by others. Really grateful for being able to work on this project with a team like Scorpions. And I've just put in I have just put in my conclusion there. Sorry, I've just speech impediment is not doing me it's not doing me any justice here. My final evaluation and audience feedback. I just put in my rationale as part of my introduction. We had to review and reflect on our contextual research. For contextual research, I had I had a look at a list of things which could be researched into. I'd firstly decided to research into the company and client. There wasn't much for me to research about the team. This is because Scorpions don't have a modern updated website, and the social media before me working there wasn't very informative. So just put in a client profile, then just spoke on like my main sources of inspiration. Um, Review and reflect on audience research. So when it came to the audience research of the audience research report, I began with primary research as I personally feel that it's longer to do than secondary, and I didn't want to spend too much time on it. So I started my primary research off with conducting a survey, as we have already seen. I then conducted an interview with 3 Scorpions players. So this final evaluation is just me basically briefly just summing up what I had done on my research report. So here, evaluate your visual research. What research did you conduct? For the visual research section of the research report, I had conducted 3 things as I felt they were the most important and relevant things I needed to research into. Read boards, typography, graphic layout designs, test shots, camera technique practice, online tutorial. So that's just me speaking on that there. Where did you get the inspiration to identify your style? I got my inspiration to help me. I got my inspiration to help me identify myself and purely experimenting with different styles to see what I like the most. And when I eventually found the design style that I liked, I conducted a survey as part of my primary research to see if people really liked it. Once I got the green light that people liked it, I pretty much stuck with my design style and used it for the rest of the design pieces. Is there anything that you could have done and did to? Is there anything that else you could have done? And did you conduct sufficient experiments? I believe that I could have maybe added a little bit more into my research only because there isn't much there. However, I do believe that the information I've collected is relevant to the work that I am doing. An example I can give here is perhaps I could have added more to the camera technique practice test shots section like examples. And here just my proposal, review and reflect on my script, planning, production, problem solving, log, practical skills, audience feedback, and then my conclusion. Now the final part of my whole F&P is the reflective journal. For me, the reflective journal was the most time-consuming thing. There was a few issues with it. Me and my teacher just like we briefly spoke on, and he basically gave me some guidance on that. So the layout that I had done for each journal was what happened, describe what you did in the lesson, 2 sentences max. I didn't want to write 2 sentences because there's so much more to talk on. What have I learned? Analyze how far you have acquired new skills or knowledge as a result of this session. I combined the third section with this as well. How can I use the new learning? How can I apply what I've learned into my current and or future project? What went wrong? Describe if anything went wrong. What action did I take to resolve the issue? Light bulb moment. Evaluation of my strengths and or weaknesses, opportunities, threats. So this was just a SWOT analysis. Stretch and challenge. What further research, practice, reading will you now go and do? And then give us a free target. I done the same for dates 29th to the 9th. 29th again to the 3rd. The 8th. This is just my problem solving log sort of journal here. Speaking about that. The 11th to the 18th. I believe this is my planning and production sort of journal that I had done here. Yeah. Look, weaknesses, video and audience quality could have been improved when recording. However, later into the season, I was able to fix this issue. So that's pretty much it for my reflective journals. Reflective journals they're very important because you need to be able to reflect upon all the work that you've done. You can just speak on like the journey of your project, any improvements that you or others feel that you need to make. If you feel that like you could have done if you feel that you could have done something better, you can literally like just log it into your reflective journal. So as a final part of my reflective journal, I just spoke about the communications of me and my clients. So throughout my final major project, me and club manager Hannah Robson have been speaking on WhatsApp about all the work that she has asked me to do, and just having general chit chats here and there. At first, I was a bit intimidated by Hannah because you're meeting the club manager of a club who wouldn't be feeling somewhat intimidated by meetings like someone like that. whenever I'd finish a piece of work, I would basically send it to her to get to get her approval. Her approval. So here's just an example of here. She'd asked me to design something. So she'd send me a reference here. So this is the reference. The reference just helps me gain like somewhat of a starting point of what I'm going to be designing, and this is the final piece I had designed. So I basically just spoke on that. Here was just an example of an issue. I was taking a bit too long to put something together. So she basically asked me if I had like for progress at 6, then again at 10 o'clock. So the fact that she said, "Luke, have you done it?" was a bit of a shock because like to me she did seem like a little bit mad. So I basically just held myself accountable as bad time management here. Um, then I had just spoken about like how sometimes I find it easier to work at night time, but you can't always get what you want in life. So even though that you may feel that you work better at night time, you can't always work like work. You can't always work at night time. Like you will be told a lot, especially in school, that you have to work when you are told to work. So school, for example, uni, you can't not do your work during the whole school day and then leave it until night. You can't do that. You need to work when you are told to work. So that's one thing that I'm going to be that's going to be one thing that that's going to be one thing that I'm going to be trying to work on, like being able to work during the day more than the night time, as that was a pretty bad issue of mine. Again, here, I just spoke about her just just asking me to do something. Sorry, it's my speech again. Her asking me to do something. Early versions of work. This is just like a draft here. I just spoke about the draft, and here I had compared the work. And I spoke about the reference that I had looked at in the final piece of work. Then again, this is the same thing, a draft. And Hannah just asked me to make something. So here, that's an early version of the under 16s and under 18s National League poster, and she just asked me to design it. That's the final design. I'd sent her through the final design, and then she had said, "Sorry, Luke, are you able to do another one of these with the following details?" The issue here was um we was not able to host a session here. Well, when they commence, they're not able to be hosted here at Oasis Enfield. So we had the location was changed to Power Enfield. So she just like briefly just said like, "Oh, can you just switch out the date?" So overall, I really like the outcome of the final design. I feel that the work and designs for Scorpions not only help them in terms of social media and getting known as a club, but it's also going to help them grow as a club and as a family. So that is it for my reflect my that is it for my reflective journal. So this concludes my year 2 final major project by Luke Thompson-Graham.